what will happen with housing prices in 2025. Now, look, if you guys remember back in 2023, we did see a slight dip in pricing. And if you were, I think I talked about it at the time, like if you were to go on YouTube, I mean, there was so many doomsayers out there talking about the housing crash and the worst housing crash that we're going to see since 2008, or worse than the '08 housing crash. I mean, it's just, these same people have been saying this now for 5 years. So, but here's what we saw in reality. In 2023, when house prices dipped, rates were, really high, but it actually created activity, and it was a very short-lived dip in prices before they went right back up. And I think it was right around this time of year, right? Here we are in January, February. This is historically the slowest time of year. We have not yet seen, that spring inventory come on the market. So no surprise that people that need to sell in the middle of winter are going to list their homes at a little bit lower price. No surprise to this. So I guess I bring this up because there is some speculation that we see some softening in certain parts of the country with home prices if rates stay in this elevated 7% range, low sevens that we're in right now. At least that's the published average for interest rates right now. So if that continues, I think that we do see some markets that are soft because affordability is just so tough. But I wouldn't look too much into some of these reports that are coming out regarding new home prices or new listings, if you will, coming on a little bit below the numbers that we saw in 2024. Not super surprising to me, and I'm not yet ready to say that we see any marketed decline. Matter of fact, all the information that I've been talking about here on market shares is that, we still have super low inventory. We still have the lock-in effect. I don't see anything substantially changing that. And I do expect rates to steadily get better over time. I think there's still a ton of uncertainty in the market. No one quite knows what the impact of, there's a lot of rhetoric about tariffs and what are going to be the impact on inflation if these tariffs go into effect. I think a lot of them are being used as leverage, but maybe some of them, have to be put in place in order to back up the rhetoric. And so maybe in the short term, that does impact inflation. Maybe that's just absorbed by the companies and the countries that are being tariffed, so that they still have a competitive price when their product hits the U.S. market. We don't know. I mean, these are things that we don't know. But what we do know is that we don't know. And what I mean by that is there's no certainty as to what the impact. Some people say, the tariffs, inflation is going to go crazy. It's like, not necessarily. We don't know what changes might be made to the price of those goods in order to absorb the tariffs. We just don't know, right? It might create competition. There might be U.S. companies that, lower their prices or, build more of a particular product in order to compete and drive prices down. There's so many ways this could work out. And so what I encourage people to do is don't be so caught up in the headlines. Don't be so caught up in thinking that this is definitive. I mean, everything I've talked about today is like a moving target. All I'm encouraging people to do is be aware of these things that are going on, be knowledgeable about how they're unfolding. And they're great talking points, to talk to your clients and your referral partners and people about, so that, so people know what's going on, what's afoot, if you will. So keep that in mind. I did see that median home price is lower, but median home price being lower doesn't necessarily mean prices are going down. Now, it could indicate that prices are going down, but also keep in mind the median is not the average, right? So the average is you add up all the homes that sold, you divide it by the number of homes, and that's your average price. The median just means that, some are higher, some are lower, and this is the middle price. What I think might be happening that drove down the median price is that high-end homes, which we know don't sell nearly as well in a market where interest rates are really high. These are luxury homes. They're more of a want than a need. Many people aren't moving up because they're still in this lock-in effect with their low interest rates. So just less higher end homes being sold. So that doesn't mean that the price of an average home in your area, maybe you're in the Midwest and the average price is $250, $325, $400, maybe average prices have gone up, but maybe the high end just is seeing less activity, less higher end sales, pushing that median down, but not necessarily impacting the price of the average home that the average first-time home buyer wants to buy. So keep that in mind when you see median home price. It doesn't necessarily mean that prices are going down. There could be other factors driving that, and I personally think that there is other factors driving that in this particular case.